Hey guys, Darren Carr here, coach of Wide Ocean Pods, and welcome back to the captain's video for round two. If you're new around here, this is a series where pretty much every single week I go through my top 10 captains and pretty much just discuss all the captain options that you should be considering for your round two team. So let's not waste any time, let's get into it. So a quick review of what I did last week. So I ranked 273rd overall in that. So not the greatest, definitely not my best week, that's for sure. Pretty good top three for sure. I had pretty much the guys that I was pretty confident with. But then it was sort of like the fourth and fifth guy. I was like, oh, I'll throw in a couple haymakers. A lot of people went at Brayshaw. He did slightly better than Sarong. And I definitely thought Walsh should have done a bit better in his comeback game, but just didn't really get amongst it. And obviously they ended up losing that game. So he didn't really do as much as I expected. So that's where I lost a lot of the points. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with where I stand. But what are we looking at doing this week? So this week, in my eyes, it's a little bit trickier than what a lot of people are thinking. In my opinion, there's a lot of harder matchups floating around, but there's also a lot of tags that potentially are coming to players that we are considering. But the first player, I think, is probably an obvious pick that we'll go with is going to be Josh Dunkley. Obviously, coming off of a 130, he's such a fantasy-friendly player. He does the inside stuff, he does the outside stuff. He just knows how to tackle, knows how to mark, and he's just really good on the inside. And he does never get the attention because Lockie Neal's in the team. So he's such a consistent player. So I would lock him in for an easy 110 in this game. Obviously against West Coast, you can't ask too much. So he should be brilliant there. I think he's a pretty easy one to throw at number one. So if you have him, lock him away and you'd be pretty happy with his start to the season. At number two, I've gone with Connor Rosie. It's probably not too far off what the list is expecting me to do, but he's got Richmond, so that should be a very easy matchup for him. Obviously, they are a very easy matchup in terms of midfielders. And obviously, with no Butters in there, he has shown he's got that extra bit of ceiling to him, and he shouldn't cop too much attention because of Jason Horne-Francis potentially getting that attention, just probably being a bit more of that damaging player. So I think that should be fine. And I just don't think even if a McIntosh was to go to the likes of Rosie, I just don't think he has the speed to go with him. So I think he should be absolutely fine there. So he is definitely in my calculations at number two. I think he should be a solid 115 at a minimum in this matchup. He went 112 in a bit of a tougher matchup last week, so he should be fine. So that is a good one to go there. Number two, again, following down the list, is Jordan Dawson. I just love the role he's playing. He does the inside stuff. He does the outside stuff. He's not locked down to a role at this point in time where he sort of floats all over the ground and he just gets disposals at will. He is up against... Oh, I should have checked this before. I don't know why not. Up against Essendon. So he should go very well there. They are an easy matchup for midfielders. He may get a bit of attention from the likes of Durham or Redmond. But like I said, he is not locked down to a specific role, so it's not like he's just going to be, okay, I'm getting attention, I'm going to swing forward. He can go down back, he can go the wing, he can do wherever, he will just get the ball because he's just such a good player. So I expect him to be a pretty good 110 to 115 player, pretty simply. Number four, I've got Lockie Neal. I just think he's going to bounce back this game. Obviously, got hugely tagged last week with, what's his name? James Jordan. So typically he always bounces back pretty well after those sort of games. The team sort of feeds into him just because he does the team thing. He allows the team just to, even though he's not getting the touches, he just allows the rest of the team to get those touches, and he's still giving them instruction. So they repay him for that in the week after. So he should have a pretty big one this week. So he could be anywhere from 105 to probably 130. I could see. So if you're looking for a bit more of a higher ceiling, I definitely would consider him if you have him. Def one I could look at. A player we haven't really spoken about a huge amount this week is a Nick Dacos. I just think he's due for a big one. Obviously, he's had a few downer games in the last couple of weeks, in opening round and in round one. He should probably get a little bit of attention, but I don't think it's going to be too strict in terms of what he's expecting to do because what's his name? Matthew Kennedy may run with him, but I just think he's too quick for him. And in an open wide ground at the MCG, he should be more than fine to go up against Western Bulldogs in a bit of an undermanned team in there. So he should just absolutely kill it and probably kick a couple goals. So he's probably a safe 110, but probably not super fantasy relevant. I don't think too many people have him at the moment. If I had to select a few more, a few apologies, sorry, from my 6 to 10, I'd probably go Tom De Koning at number 6. I think he can go pretty well against the likes of Meek tonight. So, uh, looking at scores against Meek, Grundy had a pretty shocker on opening round, only scoring like a 60 or something like that. But last week, O'Brien and Draper scored both 80s. So two ruckman both going 80s is pretty solid for scoring. So I do think he's actually quite easy to score against. I do expect the Koning to win a lot of the hitouts, and I also expect him to run Meek off his feet a little bit, being a bit more athletic and be that additional midfielder in there. So he should get plenty of touches. So I could see him being a quite comfortable 110 to 115 player if you wanted to search for a bit more of just a lock in a score. He could definitely be one for that. But if you're looking for a bit more of a ceiling, I'd probably look elsewhere. Number 7, I've got Harry Sheasel. I think he's due for a pretty big one. So up against the likes of Melbourne, they give up a lot of points for midfielders particularly, and obviously I think it'll be quite a tight and contested game. They both love to be contested, so he should get a fair few tackles and probably sneak forward for a couple of goals as well. So expect him to go well there. Number 8, I've thrown in Tom Stewart in here. I'm scared of Tom Stewart. I've looked. I said I looked at starting him in my classic side, and I've even looked at bringing him in this week. I just love the role he's playing, where he's playing this mid halfback role, where we know he can soak up the ball no matter where he got. I don't think he showed his true potential last week, where he only scored like a couple points as in the stoppages, where most of his points were in transition. So I expect him to definitely bolster that the stoppages points, and he can probably score a 120 in this game quite comfortably. Against St Kilda, we know how good they are in terms of a matchup for midfielders and defenders, so he is both of those. He should rack up. If you have him, absolutely, you'll be loving that. But it's probably not one you can. It's a late probably VC Saturday night, so it's a bit tough to go with that. Again, we do have the buy players, a Stone or a Leak, or if you've got a Taylor and you're sticking with him, or even an Ash, whoever you got there, I'd definitely recommend holding at least one of them to be a looping player for you. So consider that. But yeah, be careful not to leave it too late, because you can get stuck quite quickly. Number 9, I've probably got Dane Zorko probably criminally low compared to most teams. He is 35 selected to be in top 5. I just don't know if I quite trust him just yet. Obviously, he went 112 last week, and that was great. But his role sort of shifting and changing a fair bit in that game particularly. Obviously, they've got some injury concerns, so his role may swap and change throughout this game. It's up against West Coast, though, so I do expect him to still be pretty good, but probably just not one I think he can hit that ceiling that we're looking for. I expect them to win it out of the middle quite easily. We saw what Gold Coast were able to do to West Coast last week, and in a result, all the midfielders scored really well, but not really the defenders. They had to really sneak forward to get goals to score, put like 80s up. So I just think he's down there at number 9. I don't know if I'd be going there this week, but if you have him, definitely go for it. Number 10, I've gone for a bit of a weirder one in Nasiah Wangani Malira up against Geelong. I think Geelong will be on top in this game a fair bit. Similar to last week, where Crows were on top of St Kilda a fair bit, and that just means he's able to rack up in the half back there, receiving kick-ins, taking kick-ins, and yeah, he should just be very nice back there. So he's probably a good one for a solid 105 as well if you wanted to go there. But again, it is a late Saturday game. What am I doing? So I'm probably just going to go with Dawson VC into C. Just keep it pretty simple. My team as it is, nothing's changed from last night, so nothing to be worried about there. But yeah, pretty confident to go Dawson into Rosie. That's Saturday first game and then Saturday Arvo game, so got plenty of time to get that done. For tonight, I'm gonna have Sam Davidson as the E, and then I'll be using Connor Stone as a looping option. If he scores maybe a 70, I'll probably field him. I'll just throw Connor Stone on and take that score. If not, then I may just row with a Joe Berry, but again, it will depend on what sort of Dawson scores prior to that game, because yeah, don't want to be locked out. Because yeah, obviously, if I don't like Dawson's score, don't like Davidson's score, then I can't field Cornerstone and I can't go with a looping option because I have no one at this point in time, unless someone's dropped randomly. That would be a bit of a surprise, but I don't see that happening just yet. I will be fielding Levi Ashcroft and Lindsay this week. So yeah, definitely recommend those two if you're struggling with some rookie options, but I think that's pretty consistent. I guess a couple of apologies that I probably should mention. Gorn and Cherry are pretty high up there in terms of their selections. It's just a tough matchup for both of them. Both of them scored 90s last year against each other, so they are quite tough matchups. You know, Gorn's probably better in the hit out department, whereas Cherry's probably more of that I'll just tackle you. If okay, you're gonna beat me in the hit out, I'll just tackle you. So they could probably negate each other a fair bit. And again, Gorn can probably get out in the transition points a fair bit, just probably running Cherry off his legs a little bit. So I probably lean to having Gorn as probably the better scorer out of this matchup, particularly. But I wouldn't to say that they're going to go terribly. I think they can both be solid hundreds, because we all know that they're great scorers, but probably not looking for that ceiling that we're looking for. I'm not looking at Day with a tag. I just think he's going to cop too much attention tonight, even though he could go very well. Not looking at Cripps. I don't know why you'd look there. I don't see him having a great game. I think he gets clamped a little bit by Connor Nash. He'll stand by him all night and just keep him accountable. Merritt could pop up his head for his first time this year. We know how good of a player he is, and against the quality, an easy matchup in Crows, he should be one that could pop up and show us again that he is going to be a top 8 midfielder for the year, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him. Like I said, Jason Horne-Francis probably gets a bit of attention from McIntosh all day, so again, he's probably just still learning his craft to negate a tag, so probably not going there, and yeah, probably not looking at a captain option at all there. McRae, I definitely thought could be a safe, 105 against Geelong. I do expect them to get beaten up a fair bit, though, against Geelong, so maybe the available points to start there, so that's probably why he's not in my top 10. McRae and Petrarca and Oliver, I definitely looked at those two. I just don't know if I've seen the ceiling out of those two just yet in a proper game for them to warrant a top 10 selection. So I want to see a bit more from them, even though they're up against North, so they could all go very well. On the flip side of that, you could also go a Tom Powell if you're pretty keen on that. He's obviously shown a good ceiling. Melbourne are a great matchup, so they give up plenty of tackles, which we've seen from Powell previously, and obviously Powell likes to float into the halfback as well and take a fair few marks, so I could see him going very well in that game as well. I guess a few other options. Bailey Smith obviously is quite highly owned. There are some talks that he may get some attention in this game. Obviously, he's raising some eyebrows at the moment with how good he was in round 1, so they may look to put some attention into him. I just don't know if I trust him just yet in terms of top 10 selection. Nankervis against Sweet should go pretty well. I don't think it's really relevant though. Caldwell, I don't expect him to back it up, unfortunately. I think it was probably a one hit. He could be a solid, 110, but probably nothing more than that, I would have thought. Holmes, similar reasons as Tom Stewart. He does it all very well. I'm not looking at the Brayshaw, the Freo boys against Sydney. They're too tough of a matchup, so not going there. You're not trusting Sam De Koning as a ruck option. I'm not going there. That probably doesn't, to be honest. I don't think I'm looking at those. Anyone that does have Will Ashcroft, I would definitely be holding, as I've said, but I'm probably not looking at a captain option there. It's too much of a mid-pricer. So really just back your gut in, guys. You paid up for these top-line guys, so just back him in. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, especially this time of year. If I had a line for this week, I'd probably have it a little bit lower, just a solid 110. As I told you guys, I think I'm having my lines a bit higher this year. Probably in the years prior, I would have taken just a 105, but I'm really trying to get that consistent 110 score each week. So yeah, I'm sticking to 110, even though it's probably not a certainty this week. So try and get those ceiling scores because it does make a huge difference this time of year, as our teams are looking a lot more similar, especially this week with a lot of names changing here and there. A lot of our teams are very similar, so captains can make a huge difference when it comes to your overall ranking and overall score this week to make that bit of a jump up into the ranking. So quick video for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next week for the review of my team. Best of luck for the week, guys. Enjoy. Bye.